Like they did a good job of finding those spots and just kind of outflanking us at some opportunities. And that's what their job is. I mean, that's what they're really good at. So little jet lag here, obviously from the first play, fumble snap, good start for the Packers. You're going to think they need to capitalize and put touchdowns on the board. So this is just an efficient play by Quay. This is what we've been looking for. We're just talking about movement now, identifying the play, and you're in a 5-man box, right? So they have to do something. They got to bring a second guy. So Keyshawn Nixon comes in and takes on the center pull here, right? This used to be Jason Kelsey, obviously new man now, but just an efficient play, I think, for me from Quay as far as we watch footwork here, identify and go, right? If you can see this, as he gets older, he'll see that faster. Center pulls are out of there. Big play here. Just do your job. Like, just do. So, what do I mean by that? So, when you've got an option look on, everybody's got an assignment. Right now, Keyshawn Nixon's got the quarterback. Right? You have Quay Walker sitting on the running back. So go do your job and take him out. And whether that means you have to get closer to the line of scrimmage, so you're not rushing from depth, because rushing from depth, you're giving him an extra 4 yards, and he's a good athlete, and you're running in soup. So it's just like it's little details. Like make sure you're doing your job the right way. Break down and make the play. This is a keep it simple, stupid moment, right? What am I saying by that? Everybody knows in the defense that every gap has to be covered by somebody, whether it's a defensive tackle, a linebacker, a safety, or a corner. Like every gap, C, B, A, B, C. Every gap has to be covered. So we can just look and oversimplify this and say, we know that Quay's probably got B gap and McDuffie's probably got A gap, right? Because nobody's spiking right here. They might be stepping down, but they're not spiking. So we look at the backside first on McDuffie. We got to step down, and we've leveraged ourselves into the B gap, but squished the A gap of the defensive tackle position. Now he obviously sees the cross motion coming from the tight end, but he's got to stay in his gap, right, and attack that line of scrimmage. If he wants to read it back, you can't shuffle over into the B or maybe even the C gap here, following the backside tight end on the cross block. Okay. And now the second part of this is, if we're going to Quay, when they show the cross block, that's not a reason for you not to take your gap. Now, if you allow, I think it's Mekhi Becton, who's like 300 million pounds. If you're not going to go attack that B gap and you're going to let him double your defensive tackle, like, you got problems. What we want, the reason that you play a shade, is because the shade has natural outside leverage on that center, and it makes it much more difficult to move off the spot, because if you take that linebacker and put him in the gap where he's supposed to. But if you just sit behind this guy and they can just push, all of a sudden there's a monster hole, and you haven't given yourself any momentum to do anything about it. And that kid's just way too fast to get through a hole, man. So they're talking to each other, and you can just see this. You can just hear this after, like, post snap. You're like, man, just run this guy over. This guy's soft as hell, right? Talking about the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Wilson just absolutely trucks the backup tight end. What a great play by him. This is play design, guys. This is play design. This isn't a McDuffie thing. This is play design. So what do? They pull the backside guard. Okay. So he's got eyes on, so he has to stand. By the time he figures out what's going on, and they run off the corner. The safety's got inside or outside leverage on the slot, so he's faced in instead of face out by design. Okay, so they're going to run him inside. By the time McDuffie figures out what's going on, the far superior athlete is already going to have a little bit of leverage on him, and he's running a wheel route. And there's just no way you're going to get to this football. It's a great play call. I mean, to have to watch the guard go, and by the time you figure it out, fastest running back on the field is gone. So I look at the bottom of the screen here with AJ and Jay Alexander, and listen, man, this is just a tough matchup. So you're playing 10 yards off. we're bringing pressure, they're probably going to have an answer for it because we know on this play in particular, they've got one less than we're bringing. So the only thing I'm saying is that yellow line is the sticks, and you're just giving him a lot of respect here, considering that it's probably going to be some sort of sticks throw to your side. Like they're not going to run a go, and this is one of those where I think he's probably given a lot of carte blanche because he's such a good player. I think if he looks at this one, maybe he wants to reconsider. So good play design again. If I go back here, they look like they're going to run a little screen. And everyone's seen this play before, right? It's like the fake screen. They're going to run the second guy out. So they clear, and you've got the safety eyes on AJ Brown. You've got Quay, instead of getting to the flat fast, he's worried about the in route. So he's staring at quarterback's eyes. And all of a sudden, there's this great little pocket for that screen receiver to get open. And that's a huge play in the ballgame. Yeah, you don't see this too often. So we've got two tight ends set. Everyone's stacked over to our left, to the offense's left. You've got a two-eye playing on the other side. I think that's Kenny, outside defensive end, and then you've got your linebacker over the top. So you've got 3 and 3, but you got the running back over there. So you're going to have to bring another. And this is what a lot of guys are coming in saying, wait a second, I don't know if we're set right from a schematic standpoint. This is how they're going to run it. They just have to make a decision. Do they want to run a two-eye where this is an easy double team, or do they want to put this guy in the shade where we can kind of match, we can go man-on-man for our own gaps and have that linebacker come over the top and make the play on the backside. Now, when you put this guy in a two-eye, you just don't see this often. McKinney just gets absolutely thrown out at the bar. And this all of a sudden becomes an easy play because Quay can't quite get to where he needs. There's no way Quay's making this play now. There's too much space, and Barkley's too good an athlete. So we can talk about defensive principles and schemes and whatnot, but if you're going to put the guy in a two-eye, you can't get thrown out the bar. Very simple. So you see the lockup. So this is with Javon Bullard, who's going to be a great player, certainly. So you see him locked up at the top of the tight end, or the receiver at the top of the screen. So you see that this is an obvious crossing route. Like, I don't know anything about it. I'm watching this, like, oh, it's a crossing route. Good. They're gonna run shallow cross because everybody runs it, right? Well, he's given up. It looks like he had inside leverage, gives it up on the stem, and then it's like he's confused this is happening. This is a very standard NFL play. Ends up falling down. Again, another like 15, 20-yard gain. Like, these plays, they start adding up real fast. So much time in the pocket. So much time in the pocket. So there's two things here, right? I can't really show times where he's pressured. When he did have to throw the ball away, for the most part, he had held it for like 5 to 7 seconds. So they throw the wheel, and like, some of this is partially is I put partly. It's such a bad. Is that even English? Partially, partly. Is it partly? You can say partly maybe. But the turf sucks. But like, man, whiff. Just got to get better. Again, preseason football matters. If this game comes back to haunt you, or the way you start the season come back to haunt you, then you have to ask yourself, maybe we should try something new. This was the only real surprising play of the day for me. Is we look at Alexander at the top versus AJ Brown. Honestly, like, he's such a good player, and he's got this peg, and it's just interesting that he jumped on this look. He's a super aggressive guy, and sometimes he's maybe trying to read mail. This is really the only surprising one. Like, AJ Brown's going to win some matchups. He's an amazing player, right? But this is the one that you just thought, like, man, why did you didn't think you'd jump that particular route at that moment?